What's going on, guys? I'm Coyote Peterson, host of the Brave Wilderness YouTube channel. You may recognize me because of the cowboy hat. You also may have seen me getting bitten or stung by a gazillion things on YouTube. But today, I'm taking you on the adventure of a lifetime. In front of me here, I've got my boat. This is my trusty Dragon kayak, and we're going on a dragon hunt. That's right, today we're going to be searching for what I have deemed the mud dragon, the common snapping turtle, which is one of the most prehistoric looking predatory reptiles that lives here in the state of Ohio, my home state. What we're gonna do is head out on the water. You're going to be with me the entire course of the way. We're gonna have cameras mounted on me and on the boat. And this is gonna get crazy. If I see a turtle, I'm jumping off of the boat into the water to try to successfully catch it, get it into the boat, and then we're gonna row back to shore so we can take a good look at it. You guys ready? Let's get the cameras rolling. It's time to catch a dragon. I do have to clip in, just in case I jump out of the boat. I don't wanna lose it. There we go. Okay, I am harnessed to the boat. The boat is harnessed to me. Now it's time to catch a snapping turtle. Here we go. All right, so I'll meet you guys around on the other side with the turtle. Okay, we are rolling. Multiple camera angles, which makes this a little more difficult, but also a little more interesting. Now, are you ready for this? Are you brave? I know you're super brave. This is not going to be the easiest thing I have ever filmed. This is the first time we've done a live video like this where you are actually out on the adventure with me. Now, when it comes to finding snapping turtles this time of year, it can be rather difficult. We had some rain that recently moved through, which has made the water murky. You'll see me wearing sunglasses, not because I'm trying to be cool, but because the polarization actually helps me cut through the glare on the water. And the one thing you might be able to see from this camera is all of the ripples on the surface. Ripples make it much more difficult to see the turtles beneath the surface. Now here's the thing about common snapping turtles. They're big, or they can be big, up to 50 pounds in weight. They're angry. They've got claws and razor sharp jaws. And if you get bitten by one of these dragons, it's gonna be a really rough day. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully we just get one safely into the boat. I'm gonna angle you guys just like this a touch so that when I stand up, oh yeah, that's right, I'm gonna stand up on the kayak, you'll still be able to see me. Woo, hold your balance there. Okay, we are off and on the search. Now I'm gonna do my best to narrate the entire course of the adventure as we're moving along. But at some point, I may just call out turtle and leap from the boat. When that happens, you guys will be on your own, but don't worry, I will return with hopefully the turtle and will, with any luck, get it safely back to shore. Wow, I'm actually feeling pretty good about our chances today because the water over here, amidst all of this plant life, is rather clear. Snapping turtles have incredible camouflage, so if one is not moving, they're almost impossible to see if they're laying on the basin of the lake. At some points I might be a little quieter than others, and that's just because I am focused in and hoping that I see a carapace, which is the top of the shell, just beneath the surface or just at the surface. At this time of day, the turtles are out and looking for food. All right. This is a pretty big lake, so we may be on the adventure for quite some time before we actually find a turtle. Okay, right now we're coming up to a spot where in the past I have caught some really big turtles, so keep your fingers crossed. It could be happening just up here. And by happening, I mean catching that dragon. When it comes to searching for snapping turtles, it is literally all about being in the right place at the right time. This body of water has around 40 different turtles that I have personally documented. I do research here at this local Columbus Metro Park, and every single year I come out to check on the turtles, make sure that their health is top-notch, make sure that they're eating well, and collect their field marks, make sure that everything is in good shape. Oh, I just bumped something there. Oh, it was a log. For a second I thought maybe I bumped into a turtle. You guys all doing okay? Holding on? Alright, this is a great place for things to start to get interesting. And this looks like a great spot. I love the plant matter that's all beneath us right now. But I do not see a turtle. And you may think that it would be impossible to see a turtle beneath the surface, but if it's in the right spot, it's almost illuminated based on the color of its shell just being different than the rest of the environment. And that is what provides me the opportunity to ultimately make a catch. Okay, right now we're gonna head down through a cove. We're gonna have trees on either side of us, but this is an area where I have seen some big turtles. With any luck, this will be the spot. If I see a turtle, I'm gonna literally have one chance at being able to make a catch. The second they recognize that there's something foreign in the environment, they take off, and boy, do they take off fast. Typically, think of turtles and tortoises as being slow. That is not the case with the common snapping turtle, especially when in the water. They're unbelievably fast. When it happens, it usually happens pretty fast. You catch a glimpse of something moving beneath the surface, and then boom, it's game on. Hold on a second, might have something over here. Hold tight, hold tight. I saw something up against this tree line. This could be a turtle, hold on. It's in a really difficult spot. It's either a rock or a turtle. It's a turtle. It's a small turtle. I might be able to get it. We're going for it. Yes! Yes! We got a turtle. Ooh, I'm soaking wet, but we got a turtle. Oh, buddy. Not a small turtle. I thought it was a small turtle. All right. Holy mackerel. All right, hopefully you can see it on that camera. That was a very difficult catch. Woo! Hold on a second, I gotta try to turn the camera towards us. Okay, we've got a turtle. I know you guys can't see on that one camera there. I'm trying to turn myself around so I can turn the turtle. There we go. Okay. Oh, I cannot get bitten by this turtle. I get bitten by this turtle, it's going to be a very, very bad day. Okay. Woo. Okay, in the water, in the mud, we have got ourselves a common snapping turtle within the first 11 minutes of our adventure. Wow, that is an angry boy right there. Okay, now the next challenge is going to be getting back over to shore without losing the turtle in the process. And of course, without being bitten. You get bit by a turtle like this, you could potentially lose a finger. Okay, what I gotta do is get my oar back. I'm losing my oar. I'm also sinking down into the mud right now. Can you be chill for just a second? You wanna hold tight right there? That's exactly the scenario I was looking for. An obscure shape underwater, a little lighter than the rest of the environment, and just like that, we have got our turtle. Okay, my oar. I need to get my oar. Woo, that turtle almost got my hand there. Okay, let's see. Stay. Sometimes it actually helps to keep the oar just in front of the turtle like this, because it locks it in position. What I don't want to happen is for the turtle to jump off the far edge, then I'm gonna lose it. Right now, it's actually better for me to slowly walk the kayak back towards shore. The turtle is actually biting onto my oar. I have this very soft foam on the handles, so I can do exactly this. Walk the turtle into a position where I can get back up on top of the kayak and then row myself to a place where we can take a good look. All right, you see the turtle is right there, locked in place on my oar. Exactly, believe it or not, what we want. And I'm going to try to angle you guys down just a hair more. Let's see, hopefully you're seeing the turtle. There we go. Uh-oh, losing him. Oh, ooh, that was a big bite right there. Okay, now the real challenging thing, getting back on the kayak with the turtle so that we can get to shore. Okay, I'm gonna have to use my hand to row here. Oh boy, and this is not the situation you really want to be in. This is turtle just inches away from my face and other things. I got him holding on to the oar while I'm rowing with my hand. Never a dull moment when you're searching for snapping turtles. And the worst thing that could happen right now, of course, is for me to be bitten. Okay, I'm going to quickly stay turtle, stay turtle. Turtle's looking right at me, very angry, very disgruntled that we found him in the middle of likely hunting. Yes! Okay, we're making good progress now. I'm gonna get you guys safely to shore so that we can take an up-close look at the common snapping turtle, a true mud dragon here in Central Ohio. Very cool. All right, you rolling on that camera? We've made it. We got an angry one here. I've got to unclip. He's a pretty angry boy. We'll see that. I'm going to try to come over here by this log. Yes. And just get my boat up on shore here. Like that. Got that guy. And yeah, I gotcha. Okay. All right. This is excellent. All right, let's get out into the water here just a hair so we've got good space to work with. Well, guys, there you have it. That is the common snapping turtle, one of the most dominant reptilian predators in the entire United States, and without question here in Ohio. This turtle weighs probably about 40 pounds, and I would guess it's somewhere between 20 and 30 years of age. You can see why they get that name, snapping turtle. All you have to do is get them a little angry, and they're going to snap out with that beak. Now, the crushing power in the mouth of a snapping turtle is serious business. If this turtle were to grab onto my finger, my leg, my nose, it's not gonna let go. And that's what snapping turtles are famous for, biting and holding on. And the more they hold and the more they crush down with that pressure, the more and more damaging that bite becomes. Now, snapping turtles have developed these incredibly prehistoric looking claws and this just crazy attitude because they don't quite fit all the way into their shells. Check this out. When I hold the turtle up like that, you can see the plastron, which is the bottom of the shell. And notice how the legs and the arms and the tail all spill right out of the turtle. Typically, you think of turtles as being able to tuck into their shells. That is not the case with the snapping turtle, which is why it has evolved to have all of these incredible defensive features. Now, one thing that I love about snapping turtles are their eyes. Bright gold in coloration. It really makes them look like dragons. And when they're beneath the surface, all they need to do is stick that little tiny nose and those eyes up out of the water to take a breath. That allows these creatures to completely keep the rest of their body concealed. And when I hold the turtle up in this direction, you can see how big the carapace, which is the top of the shell, really is. Look at it, it's covered in algae, which of course gives these turtles incredible camouflage. And when I spotted it, immediately I was like, oh, it could be a turtle, but it could also be a rock. and this turtle might have actually been either sleeping or hunting, which gave me just the right opportunity to leap from the kayak and be able to catch it so we could take an up-close look. Now, like I was saying earlier as I was running around, I do research on the turtles in this park to check on their general health. And I can tell you that this boy right here is incredibly healthy. And yes, it is a boy. The males grow larger than the females, and the way you can tell that is the males usually have a longer tail. And just from doing work with snapping turtles over the years, I can immediately tell if a turtle is a boy or girl upon catching it. But I would say that this one is exceptionally healthy. Looks like it's starting to put on weight for the year, and like I said, it's probably around 40 pounds. It's probably going to clock out around 45 pounds when it's all said and done. Now, this time of year, you may see snapping turtles up and out of the water. That is because the females are on their way to lay eggs. Now, if you see a snapping turtle, I never recommend that you approach it and try to catch it. Don't harass it. Definitely don't get your fingers close to those jaws. If you see a turtle heading in a direction, just let it keep going in the exact direction it was going. If you want to help the turtle, now, if you're really brave and you're really, really careful, the best way to move a snapping turtle is to hold it by the back third of its shell. You see that? Now my hands are completely out of the way of the jaws and the claws. However, if you're not strong enough to pick up a 40-pound turtle and you're afraid that you may get bitten, it's always best to just leave the turtle go about its business. It knows what it's doing and where it wants to ultimately end up. Wow. Listen to that hiss. I don't know if you guys can hear that. This turtle is basically saying to me right now, Coyote, I was in the middle of hunting. I was looking for fish, maybe some frogs, maybe some tadpoles, maybe even a water snake. Yeah, a turtle of this size is even going to eat snakes, and in some cases, baby ducklings or goslings. I know, I'm gonna literally place you right back in the exact spot where I found you. Doesn't that sound like a good deal? And you're getting to hang out with everybody today. Everybody's getting an up-close look at your incredible design. The common snapping turtle, one of the coolest reptile species in my opinion, in the entire world, but without question here in North America. Oh, buddy, so much fun. I'm so thankful that we were able to find you on what was at one point a very cloudy and overcast day. And look at this, the sun is out. Just like that, we got a turtle in a perfect amount of time. And then we got some sunshine in the process. How cool is this? Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed today's adventure out into the field to get up close with the common snapping turtle. Stay tuned. I'm gonna get Big Boy here back off into his environment, and then we're gonna connect for some questions and answers. I'm sure you guys got a gazillion things to ask me. I'm gonna get out of these muddy clothes, and I will see you back here in just a few minutes. But in the meantime, I always love to give my classic sign off. So I'll do that just for this guy. Should we name this turtle? I think we should name this turtle. Let's call him Big Cranker. Feels like Big Cranker is probably the right name for this dragon. Big Cranker, I'm gonna give the outro now. You ready? You look ready. I'm Coyote Peterson. Be brave. Stay wild. We'll see you on the next adventure. All right, guys, see you in a few minutes. We're gonna put Big Cranker right back out into the lake. Come on, buddy. All right, time to let Big Cranker back out into his spot. This whole area right here is this turtle's territory, so I'm gonna have to quite go all the way down the corridor. Ooh, the rock. That's a rock, right? Yeah. It's usually one of the most dangerous things, letting the turtle back into the wild. All right, big guy, don't you turn around and bite me. We're letting you go. Say bye. Bye. There he goes. And he's off. That was awesome. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for joining me today. I hope that you had fun on our Mud Dragon adventure. I see we've already got a bunch of questions coming in, which is fantastic. I'm going to try to answer all of them over the course of our next however many minutes as we're hanging out. So yeah, let's get right into it, man. Big Cranker, what an awesome turtle he was. The first question I see that's come in is from Sadie, and Sadie wants to know if I always name the animals that I interact with. Well, Sadie, it's always fun to name animals, especially when you're on camera, and it gives them a little bit of extra personality. When it comes to the snapping turtles that I do research on here in Central Ohio, Yes, I would say about 90% of them have names. And that's simply because I catch these turtles usually once, if not twice a year to do their health assessments. It kind of just helps me be a little bit more in touch with them. I feel like it helps me make a better connection. I'm sure the turtles just recognize me as that guy in the cowboy hat that once again has caught them. I'm going to get looked at. I'm going to make sure that I don't have any leeches on me, and I'm going to get let go, and maybe I'll see you again next year. But the names, I kind of feel, gives them a little bit more of personality. When it comes to the other animals that we usually feature on the Brave Wilderness channel, unless it's a wildlife sanctuary that we're working with that has animals with names, we don't typically give names to just the random wild animals. So in short form, just the snapping turtles are the ones that get the names. I got a question here from Piper, and Piper wants to know, Piper says, first of all, those things are crazy. How in the heck did I get started with this crazy career? Well, believe it or not, the snapping turtle is the big animal that sort of inspired me to get outside and start exploring nature and become fascinated with some of our planet's more bizarre species. There are a gazillion animals that I claim as being some of my favorites, but whenever people ask Coyote, what is your number one favorite animal of all time, it's without question the common snapping turtle. And when I was getting started, and I'm talking like way, way back when I caught my first snapping turtle around the age of 8 years old, it was just such a mystery. These creatures that were living in the mud and the ooze beneath the surface of the ponds and swamps. I grew up watching people like the crocodile hunter, and while he was in Australia catching crocodiles, I didn't exactly have anything dangerous in Ohio that I could interact with. The snapping turtle was the closest thing, and so it's sort of helped me cut my teeth, so to speak, when it came to interacting with dangerous animals. Okay, we've got a question here from Dave. Dave wants to know, what is the largest snapping turtle I've ever caught? Well, Dave, first of all, you have to know that there are two different types of snapping turtles. There's the common snapping turtle, which you just saw on that adventure out into central Ohio. And then there's also the alligator snapping turtle, which is a much larger species that lives down in the southeastern United States. The biggest common snapping turtle I've ever caught weighed 55 pounds. The world record is 73, so I'm about 20 pounds off from having the world record. And the largest alligator snapping turtle I ever caught weighed 126 pounds. And the world record for an alligator snapping turtle, I think, is around 270 pounds. So still got quite a ways to go if I want to get the world record with that species. But the alligator snapping turtle that I caught was actually featured on the Animal Planet series that I've produced called Brave the Wild. And that turtle was so big, you really have to see it in person to appreciate how big it is. But its head is the size of an NBA basketball. And when its mouth is open, a human head can literally fit inside of it, and the jaw pressure is so strong that if it were to bite a human head, it would pop it like a grape. True story. So don't get bitten by an alligator snapping turtle. Okay, we've got a question here coming in from Alex. And Alex wants to know, what types of injuries do you get when catching wild animals? Well, the goal is to usually not get injuries. It's usually the environment that gives me more injuries than the animals, except, of course, when we do the episodes where I'm intentionally bitten or stung by things. But when it comes to interacting with animals safely, I'm always watching out for, first and foremost, the jaws, whether it's an animal with teeth or it's an animal with a beak, like a snapping turtle. That's going to usually be the most damaging aspect to potential wrong interaction. The claws are almost always going to get you. When I'm catching snapping turtles, I'm not so much worried about the claws. I do get scraped up quite a bit. I also get scraped up by lizards quite frequently. But when it comes to bites, I do my best to avoid being bitten unless, of course, like I said, we're producing an episode where I'm intentionally bitten or stung to show you what that worst case scenario looks like. And I know some of those episodes are most famous, and everybody wants to know, Coyote, are you doing more bite and sting videos? Yes, I am. We've got a new sting series in the works called Backyard Bites and Stings that's getting produced right now and comes out this summer. So if you like the sting videos, there's going to be plenty more to come. Okay, let's see. We've got another question here coming in from Chelsea. And Chelsea wants to know, how long does the neck of this turtle extend? It looks like he got pretty close to your face. He did. He did get a little close to my face and my arm at one point. And actually, if you go back, or if you recorded that on screen and you go back and freeze frame, it got really close to my arm at one point. But I'm very experienced working with these turtles, and I've sort of been able to memorize exactly what the length is that their necks can reach. And while that may sound like just a good educated guess, accidents can happen. And while I've been very fortunate to not be bitten in some of those instances, there are a handful of times where I did miscalculate and I got a nip. So try to be as careful as possible. And yes, I do kind of play it up in a way that the bites look closer than they really are. And based on the positioning of the camera, the animal, and me, it looks a lot more dangerous than it is. But you would still never want to find yourself in that position because trust me, I've been working with snapping turtles for a very long time. Okay, Gamma Z Girl wants to know, what got you into doing this sort of thing? And by this sort of thing, I'm assuming you mean going out into the wild to get up close with animals. When I was a kid, I watched a lot of adventure shows. For me, it began with people like Marty Stauffer and Jack Hanna. It eventually evolved into Jeff Corwin and Steve Irwin, and then it became Bear Grylls. And I looked at all these guys that were out in the wild adventuring, and it was the adventure element that really drew me in, but I had a huge fascination with the animal species of our planet. So I went to school at The Ohio State University and got a degree in film screenwriting, producing, and directing. So I intended to be a guy behind the camera, but then when I realized there was a bit of a gap in the entertainment space for making animal adventure content, I combined my love of filmmaking with my love for animals, jumped in front of the camera, and then Brave Wilderness was sort of born. So for the past 6 years, we have been bringing our animal adventure content to YouTube and television and pretty much anywhere that people will tune in and check out our up-close encounters with animals. Okay, let's see. There's a good one. This one's coming in from Jay, and Jay wants to know, what did it feel like when you got your first TV show with Animal Planet, and was it my dream to be on Animal Planet? This is a two-part question, part from Jay and part from Chad. It was hugely exciting to get a series with Animal Planet. We did 18 episodes for the series called Brave the Wild. For us, it was really just this big opportunity to play adventure video filmmaking on a slightly bigger scale than what we were doing with YouTube. I knew that I didn't need to make episodes that were guaranteed to get a certain number of views, kind of the way that YouTube works. Like, you make a video to try to garner a bunch of views. In television, it's like you already have the budget and you go out and make the adventure as high quality as you possibly can. So that was really fun. I got to travel to many places around the world that I had not been before while filming for the YouTube channel. And it truly was a dream come true. I mean, Jeff Corwin, Austin Stevens, Steve Irwin, all of these guys had the chance to kind of hold the mantle at Animal Planet at one point in time. So to get to be a part of that group of adventurers and filmmakers was quite the honor. Okay, we've got another question coming in here from Stacy. Stacy wants to know, what animal do I connect with the most? Great question. I feel as though I've connected with many animals, and anytime we film an episode, I try to put myself in a mental state where I'm able to connect with that animal on a certain level mentally, so that that animal understands that I'm not a predator. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to eat you. I want to hang out for a couple minutes, try to keep you as stress-free as possible. And then after I educate the audience, which they don't realize is out there watching, we've learned something about you, then you're right back into the same exact spot that you were. So I try to connect with all of them, but I'd say some of my greatest connections have come with the mammals that I've worked with, specifically wolves, coyotes, foxes, wolverines, pine martens, badgers. On that mammalian level, it seems like you can connect a little bit more so than you can with a reptile. Although with the snapping turtles, I do truly feel as if they recognize me every season when I go out and do my health assessments. So that is a great question. Okay, this one's coming in from Jess, and Jess says, this is not really an animal question, but can you tell us about your career? How did you get started with turning your passion into the business that is Brave Wilderness? It seems like such a big jump from a guy with a camera into being sort of an official wilderness expert. Well, just like I was explaining a minute ago, most of my education, like my true formal degree, comes in the form of screenwriting, producing, and directing. And to put it in its most simplistic form, I feel that I'm somebody that's really good at understanding how to tell a story. So before we even go out into the environment and search for the animals, we have target species in mind that we hope we're going to encounter. And animals don't have call sheets, right? So you may show up on a location and we may have memorized, or I may have memorized, facts that surround 60 or 70 different species. We might find 10 to 15 of those. So if the right scenario presents itself, we A, have to make sure that the encounter can happen. safely for myself and also the animal, because there are instances where I've tried to catch things and the animals get away and then you don't have an episode. But if we can successfully get the animal in front of the camera, we have that natural interaction, and then we will go back and produce around the storyline. What is the adventure that it took to get there? What are some of the other species that we might have seen that can just become B-roll? What's the conservation message or the educational message that we can give the audience as a takeaway so that they really learn something about the animal as compared to just seeing an interesting experience between me and a certain species? So, long story short, we do our best to really tell the story first, and we base it around trying to give the audience a really solid education about a species. And if we can give a conservation message, that's a win at the end of the day. And when it comes to the whole business side of things, that's a much more complex answer, but it is an everyday sort of obstacle course that you're running through to figure out how to keep the business moving forward. With Brave Wilderness, we do a lot more than just produce videos. Obviously, you guys see the work we do on YouTube. We do television projects. I do commercial projects. We've got merchandising. We've got books. We've got games. We've got a whole universe that we're trying to create surrounding Brave Wilderness. So I'm kind of like a kid in a candy shop most of the time, getting to physically make my dreams. Couldn't do it, of course, without the amazing audience out there watching. Okay, cool. Next question is coming in from Kira. Kira said, aside from wild animals, what is your favorite domestic animal? That's a great question. Well, I'm a little biased. I'm a dog person over a cat person, and I have a dog. Her name is Charlie Bear, so she's probably my favorite domestic animal. But when I was a kid, I was really into miniature goats. Like, for the life of me, wanted a miniature goat. And I begged my mom to let me get a miniature goat so that it could live in the backyard. I tried to claim that it would mow the grass. It would take care of all of those aspects of the yard work. My mom wasn't having it. I never got a miniature goat. But someday, if the dream came true, I would probably get a miniature goat and say that is my favorite domesticated animal next to a dog. Okay, next question coming in hot is from Thomas. Thomas wants to know, is it safe to swim in places with snapping turtles? Yes. First and foremost, the answer is yes. Now, you're probably not going to go swimming in the muddy, algae, ooze-filled areas that you find a lot of snapping turtles, but snapping turtles can sometimes be found in open waters like lakes. For example, all of the Great Lakes have snapping turtles, but it's not really common that you're going to be at a beach and see a snapping turtle just cruising by. But it's important to know that snapping turtles are definitely much more afraid of you as a human than you should ever be of a turtle. And the only time accidental bites ever happen is if a snapping turtle is literally on the basin of a body of water, it is sleeping, and somebody steps on it and they might get bitten on the foot or on the toe. And again, that's not an aggressive bite. That's a defensive bite to say, hey, I'm here, you stepped on me, leave me alone, and that turtle's going to try to take off and go in the opposite direction. So great question there, Thomas. Okay, we've got one coming in here from Phil. Phil says, does Brave Wilderness offer internships or hands-on education or any resources that you can point us to? As of right now, we've done a few small internship projects where we've hand-selected people to come in and be a part of the organization. We were launching a much larger internship program, specifically with the Ohio State University here in Columbus, Ohio. It was starting in 2019, and then COVID hit, so it kind of all got shut down during 2020. But as things get back to normal, yes, an internship program is something that may become slightly more public with Brave Wilderness, especially as the brand continues to grow. So my answer is yes. Right now, there's not anything specifically available, but here in the very near future, I would like to say there will be the opportunity for people to sign up for internships in different fields, whether that's animal-oriented, office and producer-oriented, or in the field and camera production-oriented. Great question. Okay, next question. Coming in from, let's see, Carrie. Carrie says, I live in a city. Where is the best place to go in the U.S. to safely see some cool animals besides the zoo? That is a great question, Carrie. I'm going to take a sip of water here real quick. Every state, every city, every town, pretty much everywhere in the United States has parks, whether that's a state park, a local park, or a metro park. Every one of these places is designed to help preserve nature and keep animals in a place where they can thrive in their natural environment. So if you go out to any one of these places, stick to the trails, walk quietly. I often suggest earlier in the morning or in the evening when animals are more active, and you're very likely to see all sorts of creatures. I mean, there are parks even throughout New York City. Central Park has got an incredible collection of wildlife if you go out and walk around the bodies of water. There's snapping turtles, painted turtles. I think they've got mink, they've got raccoons, they've got opossum, they've got deer. There might even be some coyotes living in and around those areas. So any park that you have access to in your city, town, or state is going to be a great place to see animals, and seeing them in the wild versus seeing them in a place like a zoo. Now, there's nothing wrong with zoos. Zoos are absolutely fantastic, but a lot of the time as Brave Wilderness, we like to work with wildlife sanctuaries that have rescued and are rehabilitating some of the animals that have either been injured in the wild or were at one point in time people's pets that they could no longer take care of, and they needed a place to go live and be taken care of to live out the rest of their life. So wildlife sanctuaries, zoos, and parks, all thumbs up in my books. Okay, next question coming in from Kelly. Kelly says, how do you know if an animal is poisonous? Sometimes on hikes, I don't know if I should worry or not. Well, that's a great question, Kelly. Right out of the gate, you don't necessarily need to worry about something being poisonous or venomous, especially if you're not going to interact with it. I always say to people, if you cannot properly identify a species as being harmless, it is always best to just safely admire it from a distance. Animals do not want to bite you. They don't want to sting you. And in almost every instance where a human has a negative interaction with an animal, it comes as a result of the animal being defensive because either the human is A, getting too close, or B, is trying to harass it. So when it comes to poison and venom, they're two very, very different things. Poisonous animals usually secrete that poison through their skin, or you have to eat a poisonous animal for it to affect you. Unless you're going out there to eat toads or salamanders or some of the different insects that are out there, I think you're going to be pretty fine. When it comes to things that are venomous, again, if you're not interacting with an animal and you don't give yourself the chance to be bitten or stung, you're going to be completely fine. So no need to worry when you head out this summer on your adventure, as long as you're admiring certain animals from a safe distance. Great question. Okay, next question is coming in from Kara, and it looks like I'm getting the cue that this is going to be our last question, and it's a good one, Kara. So here we go. You said you were a scriptwriter, so it's cool to see your non-traditional path. If I want to become an animal expert in the public eye like yourself, what are some things I should do to get started? This is an excellent question to end today's session on. For me, when I got started, what you guys who followed Brave Wilderness for all these years did not see was the 4 or almost 5 years that my business partner, Mark, who you occasionally see on the Brave Wilderness channel as well, spent developing the concept that became Brave Wilderness. We spent years going on adventures, filming our work, editing our work, putting our work together in sizzle reels, and trying to pitch it to television networks. I pitched every network you can possibly imagine, and everybody told me no. Sorry, kid. Looks like you have some talent, but nobody's really interested in an animal adventure show host now. We want this ensemble cast with crazy drama where people are backstabbing and things just aren't going right. We don't want to see you successfully catch an alligator or a rattlesnake or a snapping turtle. It's just not going to work. We refuse to take no as an answer, and the wondrous creation that is YouTube allowed us to take our work and begin to upload it to a platform where eyeballs were seeing our diligence. And after a while, those views started turning into comments. Those comments started turning into subscribers. Those subscribers, those comments, and those views began to grow. And before you knew it, people started recognizing Brave Wilderness as a consistent place to come to see animal adventure content that was not only entertaining, but was also educational and had a great spin of conservation. Of course, once we started doing some of the more extreme stunts where I was bitten and stung by stuff, the channel just went like a rocket ship, and we recognized the entertainment value that really people loved. But we always made sure to keep the education and the conservation message a strong thread throughout everything that we did. So to get to a more succinct answer and to get to the point, you have the ability to get started. All it takes is having a good idea, an adventurous team around you. Could be your best friend, could be your brother, could be your sister, could be your mom, could be your dad. Everybody now has a camera on their phone or can easily get a GoPro or an inexpensive little video camera. Start filming your own content, start editing it, start uploading it to YouTube. You never know. You might be the next great animal adventure show host, but you got to get started. And if the audience gravitates towards your content and you're consistent with the way that you're producing it and you're producing it to the best of your ability, somebody out there is going to like it. Somebody's going to love it. And like I said, before you know, you've got your very own animal adventure show. Who knows? After that, you might get picked up by Netflix or Hulu or Amazon, and you might have a show that's even bigger than Brave Wilderness. How cool would that be? Well, guys, thank you so much for all the wonderful questions today. Thank you for joining me on the epic adventure out into the wilds of Central Ohio to get up close with my favorite animal, the common snapping turtle. And I really appreciate all the well thought out questions that you guys presented here today. Thanks again to VidCon for having me as a part of this live stream. And in typical Brave Wilderness fashion, I'll give you guys the classic sign off. I'm Coyote Peterson. Be brave, stay wild. We'll see you on the next adventure. Bye, guys.